Tons of fun, endless fun to be had over the backing track that will not switch off. Hey folks, how you doing? Nick Jennison, it's the Monday Guitar Show. Welcome on board. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays, which is hang out and chat about the guitar. And today, we've got a very interesting and, dare I say, somewhat left field topic for you guys, which is the question of, how come I can't play songs all the way through? Now, this is something that comes up time and time again in the Q&As that we have and the one-to-one sessions that we have with our Lick Library members. In case you're not sure, or in case you weren't aware, today's stream is, as usual, brought to you by our friends at licklibrary.com and guitarinteractivemagazine.com. Go to licklibrary.com for lessons, guitarinteractivemagazine.com for news, reviews, interviews, gear, all of the other non-lesson related stuff. Something the guitarists talk about all the time, which is like, I feel like I've kind of got this huge collection of riffs, but I just don't know any songs. I don't know anything full, start to finish, that I can sit and play through. We're going to try and answer this question for you guys today, along with many others. But first of all, if you are new here, hi, welcome on board. We do this every Monday. We hang out, we chat about the guitar. We have a great community here of guitar players of all levels, ages, backgrounds. It's a fabulous place to be. Great place for me to hang out and meet new guitar players, my own age. Anyway, you know, it's a lovely, lovely experience. So I love doing this every Monday. I love hanging out with you guys. If you're one of our regulars, welcome back. It's lovely to have you. Again, today we're talking about why you maybe don't know as many songs as you would like to. But there's a broader thing here, which is the question of repertoire and the question of repertoire learning. So we're going to get into how you can learn repertoire more effectively, how you can learn songs, some mistakes that you might be making. I'm not going to be teaching you any songs today, but if you want song lessons, my goodness, you're in the right place, because licklibrary.com has every song lesson you could possibly imagine. It's crazy. I think we're probably the biggest repository of song lessons in the world. Don't quote me on that, but certainly for the guitar, I think it's close. I don't think there's many people who are doing as many as we do. So, yeah, whether you want full classic albums or whether you just want one specific song, chances are Lick Library may well have it. So if you're not a member, maybe think about going taking out a membership today. Anyway, listen, we will talk more about that as we go. But first of all, let's say some quick hellos. I'm going to have to let some air into the studio soon. I've been doing some programming today. You guys can't quite see, but I've got my quad cortex just right out of shot down here, although we're not playing through it right now. I'm playing through my Super Kraken because, you know, given the chance, I'll always play through an amp. Anyway, let's say some hellos to folks, and then we will get on to the meat of today's lesson. So first things first, Timothy Appling is the first one who says, we're in sync on our time zones. We are indeed. And I don't know about you guys, but I am still feeling, it's been 2 days now, I'm still feeling the change in the time zone. It's crazy, right? It shouldn't be such a big deal. But I feel like losing that hour and trying to kind of keep my regular schedule has just kind of messed me up a little bit. I'm a creature of habit, and if my sleep is disturbed, I'm useless for a few days. Should have seen me when I came back from NAMM. Oh, you did, because you guys were here. But anyway, so yeah, I'm glad we're back on the same time zones, but I'm waiting for this to sort of clear itself up. I'll be fine tomorrow, I'm sure. PJ is in the house. Great to see you. We're wondering where Marcin is. I know Marcin's not far behind us, for sure. There's our man, Marcin. Hello, guys. It wouldn't be a stream without Marcin here. One of our regulars and almost always first in the door. It's lovely to see you. Sacred Godslayer is in the house. PJ is talking about his arpeggio playing. He's been trying to up his arpeggio playing using different sequencing patterns. Some interesting sounds came out. Please note I didn't say good sounds. Well, you know, good is in the ear of the beholder here, man. And, you know, one man's, like, the greatest arpeggio sequence is another man's kind of like, well, you know, it's a bit boring or it's a bit weird sounding. Who knows, right? But I'm glad you're having fun, and it sounds like you're on the right track to making some serious progress with this stuff. We're going to start that up because we'll maybe come back to that a little bit later on. If you guys have questions, by the way, don't forget, you can drop questions in the comment section. We'll answer as many of them as we can. Foghornish is in the house. Larry Warren is here. Response Audio is here. Kim's tuning in. Helmet Strap says, hi all, focus. Since only playing at home, instead of learning songs for the band, I learn songs that catch my interest. But I lose focus after learning the catchy parts or the solo and jump to another song. Now that is, I think you've kind of answered a lot of our questions there, but there's more to it than that, as I'm sure you can imagine. And our focus here focus, pun intended, is not necessarily, I know the stream says why you can't learn songs, but it's going to be more about helping you get better at learning songs. So there'll still be some cool stuff for you, I am sure. Who else do we have? I hope so, anyway. Franz is in the house. Mal Riley is here. Sacred Godslayer is here. He said he went to the Lick Library channel and didn't see the usual friendly, familiar faces. I was worried. For anybody who's wondering what we're talking about here, we have two channels that we stream on. We stream on the Lick Library and the Guitar Interactive YouTube channel. And we stream simultaneously, so you'll find us on both, but there are little communities on both pages, and it is lovely to see. Frank Mezender or Misander is tuning in. Crankatom is here. Hope your trigger finger is healing well, my man. I'm sure you'll be back to shredding it up in no time. Tony's in the house. Steve Smith is here. Great to see you. This is the exact issue I've been having lately, says Steve. Dreams is in the house. Great question from Mal Riley saying, did anybody here try and learn Eric Johnson's song Cliffs of Dover? I learned it once, but couldn't get it back to speed to the backing track. One thing to learn it, and the thing to remember it later. Right, so I did this for a performance. We'll let some air into the studio very quickly. Bear with me. Whoa, hello, falling off my chair. That's so much better. My goodness, it's getting warm in here. I've been in here all day doing all sorts of things. Anyway, recording some backing tracks, programming stuff, all manner of stuff. Anyway, yes, I learned Cliffs for a performance I was doing with this band that I play with every summer. The performance was fine, but then I'm like, okay, I should probably play this with another band to keep it in the repertoire. And you're absolutely right. You learn it, and then you almost immediately forget this stuff. It just falls out of your head. So, yes, I'm with you on that one. I'm not going to try and play Cliffs for you guys today, although we do it every weekend. You know, on most weekends anyway. Block 18 is in the house. Lovely to see you. Response Audio is here. Our friend Dylan Jessup is here. Emil is in the house. We've got a new viewer, I think, or at least a new commenter in B-Boy Eclipse. Great to have you on board. Thanks for joining us. Chris Davis is here. Marcin with a comment saying, playing songs all the way through makes us combine a lot of techniques in short periods of time. A very, very astute observation. We're going to get onto that in the why we learn songs section, which we'll get to in a second. My Knees Hurt is tuning in. We'd love to hear why you think I can't play songs all the way through. I didn't know you had a psychology degree. It's a catchy title. We've got a degree in titling YouTube videos, but we'll give you some good stuff, don't worry. Anyway, who else do we have? Very quickly, going to say a quick hello to anybody we've missed. I think we've got everyone. So anyway, let's get into the real meat of the session, which is not so much why you specifically can't learn songs all the way through. I'm sure you can. I'm sure if we said to you, look, here's £1 million, go and learn a song. Right, I'm sure you'd be okay. It's more the question of what might stop you from learning a song all the way through when you are only under your own steam, let's say. And the answer is not one of discipline. It's not a question of saying you must be disciplined and you must learn songs. Let's be real about this. The majority of us here are playing the guitar for our own pleasure. Right? There are a few professional players in the comment section, I'm aware of this, but the majority of us, we play the guitar because we like it. So if there's something we're doing that isn't enhancing our ability to enjoy the guitar, we have to ask a question, is it really something that's worth us doing? Now, we can see that investing time in our technique, investing time in our knowledge of music theory, investing time in our gear, making sure things sound and play as nice as they can, are all things that are going to improve our guitar enjoyment in the long run. They're going to make us enjoy the process of sitting down with our guitar. So we can see how that might improve our guitar playing life. But playing songs, if there's a specific song that you really want to learn, but you're learning it and you go, no, I'm not really enjoying this anymore, is it really fulfilling its purpose, right? Maybe, who knows? So I think learning songs is super important. I think it's something people avoid because it's much easier, I know I do this, much easier to sit down and go, do you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to sit and work on my own shtick. I won't swear this early into the video. I'm going to work on my own shtick, my own nonsense, and just play loads and loads and loads of improvised jams over backing tracks. I'll have lots of fun. And then what will I come away with at the end of it? maybe a couple of licks, who knows. But as if you guys rightly pointed out, when it comes time to put together a performance, maybe you're playing in a band, maybe you've got a gig on a particular weekend that you want to put some songs together for, or you've got a jam session booked with some buddies, or whatever, you're going to be recording some songs, and it's time to put the rubber to the road. That's really when the magic happens. Okay, so we're going to begin with a slightly contentious topic, which is why you might be struggling learning songs. And I'm going to begin with the way that we all learn songs, or the way that we all learn songs and probably shouldn't, which is to go and grab the tab. Right now, here's a question, and I want to say this to you guys, and I want to ask you all this, right? Do you all rush out as soon as you sit down to learn a song and go, I'm just going to get the tab? I do this. I shouldn't do this, but I do this. And we're going to use an analogy and an example of why this may or may not be the best idea. I'm going to start with a little bit of this. I'm going to share one of my screens with you guys. So if you bear with me a second, I'm going to share this. This is something I created today. This is a little Guitar Pro tab. I'm going to try and make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. But this is the tab for a section from a song that I play in one of my bands. I wrote this, and I'm going to see if we can learn this together from tab, and we'll see what the process is like, right? Can you guys see this? Hopefully you guys can see those numbers. If you're on a phone, I apologize, but I'll try and make myself as small as possible so we can see at least the majority of this. Okay, here's the deal. So I'm going to give you guys a quick second to sit and look over this and see what happens when we start to piece this together from tab. And I'll do it with you, right? I'm tiny down here in the corner in case anybody's wondering what's going on here. Marcin's got a great observation. He says, the first thing I do is go through YouTube and watch some covers. Now that is something entirely different and very, very valuable. Okay, so we got some tab here. Let's pick through it together. Hopefully, guys, hopefully you guys can see. What do we have? Well, we have 5 and 5, so we could play this. We could go. There's 4 of them. There's another 4 of them. Then there's 2, and then 5 and 6. And then there's 5, 6, and 3. What was the start go like again? And then that carries on here. Wow. It's not much fun. I'll tell you that right now. It's not much fun learning this stuff absent context. Now, I have deliberately chosen a fairly hideous example. That is a pretty bad thing to try and learn from tab, because that's just a bit of nonsense, right? I mean, right? Did anybody get it, by the way? Let me know in the comments if you learned that and you go, yeah, I know exactly how to play that. I am now going to teach you how to play this song or play this piece without the tab, right? And we'll see if we can put it together a bit more easily. And I'm going to highlight some of the important steps that maybe we don't take when we learn songs. So the passage in question sounds like this. That's the first thing that Marcin rightly pointed out that we don't get when we look at tab straight away. We don't get to hear, what does this passage that I'm trying to play sound like? There are lots of tools for figuring out what something sounds like. We've got some suggestions in the comments. Here's a very good one. Chris says, I use an ancient software thing called Riff Station. It's a really good shout. Other examples might be things like Moises. Logic's got a stem splitter built in. We've got a ton of them, right? Loads and loads and loads of them that you can choose. You name it, right? You name it. So, Already Sound is another very good choice. Riffmaster Pro from Already Sound, very good choice. Frank Mesender with the, I use tab for hints, but listen to the original. There we go, right? I use tab or YouTube for cross-checking my versions. You guys seem to have the right idea here, right? So what do we do first? Well, we start with the sound, right? If you don't know what a piece of music is supposed to sound like, best of luck trying to learn it, right? Here's the thing. You can probably figure something out if you hear it. enough times and you have some idea of how to make those sounds on your guitar. Let's use the example of learning a language. Let's say, for example, you're in a foreign country where they speak a language that you don't speak natively, right? Whatever language that might be. I am an English speaker, and therefore I am a filthy monoglot. I speak one language, and that's basically it. But let's say, for example, I was trying to order a beer, right? Now, if I was in a country that maybe spoke Spanish, let's say, for example, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation here, by the way, I would probably be told that beer equals cerveza. Dreadful pronunciation, I know, right? I could learn quite quickly that that sound equals this thing. And then I could go to the bar and say the sound and be presented with a beer. Fantastic. If I saw the letters written down, C-E-R, curvy, curviza, less I know what it sounds like, hopeless, right? Hopeless. No good. Same goes with music, right? If you don't know what it sounds like, no chance of learning it. I promise you this, especially if the tab doesn't have maybe rhythm attached, and maybe you're not an au fait rhythm reader, it means nothing to you. So if we throw that tab back up, now that we know it sounds like this, even just that first bar, let's throw the tab back on screen and we'll take a look at just this very first bar. So now you know what it sounds like. You're expecting this. Okay. Now I can pick what's going on there. I can pick out this ba 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 ba. Okay, so that's ba 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 ba. Okay, so what do I get? Makes much more sense, but it still might be a bit of a pain in the neck to piece that all together. So I'm going to teach you a little bit of how we might play this. We're going to go as so. If we start with fingers 3 and 4, not the obvious choice, but fingers 3 and 4, on 5 and 5, on our B and G string, we're going to strum it 8 times. And then we have some double strums on the following: 5 and 5, 6 and 5, B string, pinky finger, and 6. So that's... Then our first finger is going to go down on 3 on the E string for another double strum. Let's do that together. So we have 8 strums, double, double, double. And then we have this figure here, which is 4, 4, and 5. E string, B string, G string. Top portion of an A flat chord. So we have double, 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 double. And that continues on to the next bar, where we have 8 more strums of this. I'm sure you get the gist. So if we were to play this together, we can go like this now. Is this making sense? Hopefully it is. Hopefully this is starting to click, right? So this is an example of why the tab is a useful reference. It's a very useful reference. It shows you where your fingers should go. We all know that the guitar has a million ways that we can play any given individual scale or any individual note, and sometimes it's helpful to have some predictor of how it may look. But here is the thing with this. Tab presents us with individual notes one after another, right? Individual notes as events, but we don't see music as individual events any more than we see conversation as individual phonemes, i.e. IE. So if we use the example of the word conversation, we think of it as one long thing. We don't think of it as conversation. 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 Anybody just tuned in is going to think I'm bonkers. Anybody's been here from the beginning will probably also think I'm bonkers, so that's fine. Anyway, so the point with this is the next thing that I'm going to get to, which is big picture thinking. So when we learn songs, when we learn music, it is super important. It is super, super important to first of all have a big picture of what it is that we're trying to play. And we start with the big picture and fill in the details from there. Imagine like learning a song was like painting a picture, right? Painting a portrait or painting a landscape. Let's say you were painting a picture of this thing that's on your screen right now, heaven forbid, right? You probably wouldn't start with this little collection of powerlifting medals up here, right? You probably wouldn't, just wanted to point to my medals. But yeah, participation trophies for the most part. Although I did win a couple of golds, and I do have a record. There's my record up here. Hooray! Anyway, so I jest. But you probably wouldn't start with those. You probably wouldn't start with excruciating details on the record. What you'd probably do is you'd start with maybe the shape of the room, the shape of the shelves, outline these basses up here, these guitars up here, these guitars down here. Well, there's some amps behind him. Let's get the shape of Nick filled in. Let's get the shape of the guitar filled in. You get the gist. You would have some big picture that you could then fill in with details. However, as guitar players, we want to start with the details. Let's take the example of learning Cliffs of Dover. For example, the first thing we want to do when we learn Cliffs is we want to start by going, okay, let's get into the crazy run. The bit that goes... We need some delay for that. And we want to do the next bit, whatever that goes like. Ooh. And so on and so forth, right? We want to do that because it's cool, right? And we go, right, let's start there and let's not move on until we've done that bit. Geez, is that nearly the hardest part of the song? Possibly, you know, maybe the solo, but it's pretty tough. What if we learned the main themes of the song? What if we learned this bit, the bit that goes... Little theme. What if we learned this bit? We don't need to learn all these little bits. We've just got to reach for those little sections. Now, with those sections, conceivably, could we play along with the recording of Cliffs of Dover? Not playing the whole thing, but yeah. We could play along with basically the whole thing. We could just drop out when the fancy stuff happens, but there's lots of repetitions of this. Apologies for anybody who's going, whoa, that's a bit sloppy. Somebody did mention Cliffs in the comments. A few people mentioned it, so I thought I'd pick that one as an example. So we could then sit and we could play through Cliffs of Dover, playing just these little sections, right? After the intro section passes. What are the benefits to doing this? What are the benefits to doing this? Well, the first thing that we gain an understanding of is the song's structure. We gain an understanding of what shape does this song take, right? What is the shape of the song? We're not just looking at the little minutiae yet. We're going, okay, well, the recorded version has essentially this little passage as an intro, the... And that little bit is going to be a theme. So we could call that the verse. Let's say we could have an intro, a verse. And then we do intro, verse. We can call this the chorus. It's intro, verse, chorus, intro, verse, chorus. Cool, that works. There's a little bit of flourish in the re-intro, but we'll worry about that later. This bit... whatever it goes like. There's a bit of that going on, but we'll worry about that later. I've got my bridge pickup too high, which is why that sound is coming through. But you're kind of getting the gist of it. Okay, so intro, verse, chorus, intro, verse, chorus. What happens next? Well, there's a bit that goes... with all these bit... all those kind of sections. I should probably have a different tone for that, but you get the gist, right? And then there's a big solo. What does the solo follow? Well, it follows a set of chords. And what do the chords go like? Well, they're not 100% dissimilar to the chorus. So if we knew what that is, we could improvise something for the solo just to fill the space for now. So this would give us the opportunity, initially, to sit down with very little bits of information and just pick through the whole song and get an idea from when these sections that we already play come back in, we go, all right, okay, so we go, that's going to come in here, that's going to come in here. Second verse, the theme is back, this. It's flooding back to me now. There's all this kind of business, right? So we go, right, okay, well, that's going to change, and we get... We can get all that sort of stuff. Now, having this big picture view of this song will then allow us to choose our battles as far as which bits we want to focus on next. We'd probably go, actually, you know what, there's loads of stuff, loads of little wins I can get here. I could probably learn this theme next, because that's going to be a recurring figure. Is that bounced off a bridge pickup? Yes, it is. And then I could learn this, because that's going to come around loads of times, so I could sit and work on that. And then we can recognize each one of those that comes up as a little variation all of its own. So there's the first one that goes... and the second one goes... and the third one is slightly different with the timing. That's it. So then we actually have a label for each of those. We have the first version that goes... or whatever it is. Then one that goes... and then one that goes... They all sound the same if you're not playing it with the track, but we get the gist. You have a label for each one of those, and then you can go, okay, you know what? I only need to remember the differences here. I don't need to remember these as individual versions of each one. I just need to remember what's different about each one. And if I can recall the difference, I can just plug that in. And now I've got all the variations. Excellent. What about this bit? Well, the first time... the only real change is... this. Second time we've got the bit that goes... that's the one. That's in the middle. Third time it does the weird thing where it goes all the way up to the top. And I can't remember exactly what that was, but I'll improvise something to fit in the space. How do I know what to improvise? Well, here's the thing. While I'm doing this, I can observe things like what key the song's in. The song's in G major. So if I'm stuck, I can go, oh, there's a fancy bit, play some fancy stuff in G major. And it'll do for now. So I'm here, let's say for example we take this, I don't know, this fancy section where there's a bit of noodly stuff going on and we're going... and we know there's a thing... I'm going to guess it's 5. It's Eric. I'll guess, but it might not be that. But I know it's something there. I can get away with it for now, and I'll go, all right, well, that's a thing. Cool, right, that'll do for now. That'll do for now. I can press on and learn the rest of the song. You guys get the gist of this. What we're doing here is we're starting with the big picture of the song. We're starting with the important big rocks, the big outlines of the sections. What do the sections do? How do they differ from each other? How do we learn this? Well, we learn it by listening. And what's the best way to listen? Playing along. And how do we play along and listen at the same time? Well, we learn the bits that get repeated over and over and over, and then we stop and listen for the bits that we don't know yet. Does that make sense? Hopefully this is making sense. Now the beauty of this is that instead of picking over that intro figure forever and a day and getting stuck there and going, oh God, Jesus, that bit's hard. Maybe I'll never get around to learning this. Because that intro is so difficult. we'll just miss it. Skip the intro. Come back to it, right? Take the big wins, flesh out the song. Every time you play it along, you get an opportunity to listen to it. You get an opportunity to hear how it's played, hear how it sounds, and get it further and further into your ears. So then when you start to reference this stuff, it all starts to make sense. Now, what's the best way to have this decoded? Because there are lots of resources available to you. Tab is cool. I feel like I threw Tab under the bus earlier on. I don't want to come off as some kind of anti-Tab guy, because I'm really not. I use Tab all the time. If I'm preparing for a show and I need to learn things quickly, I'll have Tab. But I'm mostly listening and scanning the Tab. I'll rarely learn something just from the Tab, because it takes forever. And I'll just need to figure out what that stuff sounds like anyway. I'd rather start with the sound and then kind of go, where does my finger go for that weird fiddly lick? Is it really that chord? Is it that chord? Oh, it's this chord. Okay, great. Cool. But I'm starting to get big concepts of the song. A great way to get this is lessons, right? Lessons, face-to-face lessons. Because here's the thing, a good teacher who is teaching you the song and is not just guiding you through the song, like holding your hand and going, it's this note and this note and this note and this note and this note. A good teacher will present you with the information in a logical order. They'll show you the big picture. They'll show you how to think about each individual section too. So for example, we talked about those variations in Cliffs, where we go, okay, well the three verses, they're basically the same, but all these three times he plays the verse figure, they're basically the same, but there's slight variations. So what you might do is the teacher might say, rather than relearning this, oh, sorry, it was this section, the bit that goes, you don't need to relearn that every time we get to that section, because it's the same. Every time we play it, it's going to be the same. So you go, right, well, that's going to be fine. I'll just leave that be. I don't need to sit and relearn it. If you're poring over Tab, you may come across that and go, what is that? That's 12, 14, bend 14, release 14, 12. I already know that bit. Come on. Didn't need to learn that. I already knew it. So a teacher will dispense this information in a way that is logical and makes sense to you. A good way to get some tuition on this, of course, is to head to licklibrary.com, where we have video courses on how to learn songs. So if you want to learn Stairway to Heaven, right, that we all know what Stairway sounds like, but if you don't know what Stairway sounds like, first of all, why are you trying to learn Stairway to Heaven if you've never heard it before? Maybe to get banned from a guitar shop. Who knows? Perhaps. Maybe you bought a 12-string and, you know, the first thing you play is Stairway and you go, I know I should play Stairway, but I don't know what Stairway goes like. Let me learn it. I'll reach for the tab. Should I listen to it first? But yeah, anyway, the point with this is you can go to licklibrary.com and you can get a full course where we'll guide you through playing this sort of stuff. Or you can go face-to-face with tutors. Or you can take the approach that a few guys have talked about, which is you can go on YouTube, right, and you can search for song covers. Now, song covers are useful because they allow you to see the song being played. This is another very valuable thing, is when we see stuff, when we see things being played, it makes more sense to us. If we combine the visual and the auditory, we're actually getting something that is closer to the way that we think when we play the guitar, right? Let's go back to this tab example. So tab example up here, in case somebody's missed it. We don't think about this when we play the guitar. We don't think about a line going 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5. Oh, there's a 6 6 5 6 5 3 6 5 3 6 5 4 4 5 4 4 5. Nobody thinks about that. What we think about is we think about shapes and we think about sounds. And the shape may be something like this. There's a shape. There's a shape. There's a shape. There's a shape. Each shape is a sound. That's nice. Pretty sounds. I like the way they sound. We may have some concept of them. We may think about them as C little dyad, C sus dyad, C sus dyad with the fifth on top, A flat triad, or C sus triad with the fifth on top, A flat triad. We may think about it as A shape sus with the fifth on top, E shape, whatever, it doesn't matter. We think about it in terms of shapes and sounds, not a collection of numbers that run one after another. Shapes and sounds. And if you can have some sense of what the shapes and sounds are, you are golden. Now, we've got some comments coming in. I'm going to hit a few of these, but we also have a whole bunch of time for Q&A today. So if you've got questions, we will have answers for you. We're going to get to that in a second because we've got some really good ones. But first, some thoughts from in the comments section. We're going to start with this one. This is Marcin, who says, I would consider music theory as another language. For sure. I would actually probably, not to just like try and one-up you or anything, but I would consider music to be a language. Music full stop is a language. Now, language is interesting because language is not grammar, and grammar is not language. Grammar is something we use to give order to language, but language can exist outside of formalized grammar. Language is not writing. Writing is something we use to represent language when we aren't there to speak it, maybe, or, you know, we want to write it down so we don't forget it. It's a storage medium and a communication method over long distances and long times, maybe we can say it. There's a better definition than that, I'm sure. But language is not writing. Writing is a facet of language, but it's not that. You could say that language is speech, but there are languages out there like Latin that, as far as I'm aware, people don't speak, right? It's just, it's a language that's written. So language is an interesting concept, and I think music can be a language, but music theory is an aspect of language. Now, you do not need to know formalized Spanish grammar to order beer in Spain. You need to know what the sounds are and what they feel like in your mouth to say and what it means, what you get at the other end. So you get a beer at the other end and you don't get something hideous, you know, you don't get punched in the face or something like that. You haven't insulted somebody's parent, maybe. So yeah, so I think it's a really good analogy. It's an important one to be aware of. So anyway, got some more stuff on here. Here's one from B-Boy Clips saying, tab books I find aren't always accurate. I usually play by ear, but that's not always correct. Well, this is an interesting thing, right? So we can combine the two. The tab is a reference tool, and if it's accurate, then that's great. If it's not accurate, we're in trouble. And we've all learned stuff from bad tab books and played it wrong forever. Especially those of us that grew up in the 90s and had to buy tab books, and they were almost never right, and had a really arcane method of writing tabs. Really strange methods. I remember there was a few that just didn't look anything like each other. Here is a good one from Chris. Chris says, exactly. I would say it's a great example of that would be Angus Young. Even the guy who's doing the lessons on Lick Library. I think I might have missed what we were talking about at the time, but I think you're kind of on the picture here, right? So, who are amazing, Lick Library guys. Look like the sight reading as they play the lesson, and no offense intended, the notes are totally correct, but the playing sounds nothing at all like him. With regards to Angus Young, for sure, right? 100%. This is another aspect that we're going to get into, which is why the notes aren't always the song. Right, and we'll get into that. We'll actually use Angus as an example for this, right? Here's a good one. Just to beat it to death, I mean, the phrasing is also wrong, so you got to listen or have stuff in your head to make it sound the way you want it. For sure, 100%, right? 100%. Chris has another question that we'll get to in a second. We're going to have a little bit of that, so we'll get to that in a minute. It's how you learn stuff when you've been playing a long time. Basically. So I want to drill into that Angus Young comment because that's a really interesting point, right? Here's another example of when the song is not the notes per se. And we're going to use the song Highway to Hell for this, right? Highway to Hell. So I'm sure we all know this, but if you don't, I'll teach you it now very quickly, right? Highway to Hell is made up of the following chords. A, which we play as 2, 2, and 2 on the D string, G string, and B string, with the open A as well. We also have a D, which we can play with our thumb in the bass. We can play a D chord like this. It's 2, 3, and 2 on G, B, and E. Thumb can go on 2 on the low E string, or we can play it like this if we prefer. And then we have a G chord, which we'll play as follows. 2, miss this off because we don't need it. Sorry, 3 rather, miss this off. Open, open, 3, 3. 3 chords. A, D with this in the bass, and there's our G. We play 3 lots of A. Then we play D, D, G, D, D, G, D, D, G, and then D, A, A. And the rhythm will be A, 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 D, D, G, D, D, G, D, D, G, D, A, A. Right? You got it. You know the rhythm. It all makes sense now. Fantastic. Great. Let's play it. Well, that doesn't sound like Angus Young. No, you're right, it doesn't. Right, it doesn't. What's wrong? What's different about it? Well, what's different about it is the fact that the song is not its chords. And the song is not its chords in the order that they come in. And it's not the song is not its chords in the order that it comes in at the right time. We deliver the chords at the right moments. That must be the song, surely. No, there's more to it. First of all, the most obvious thing about the song is the silences, right? There's gaps. We go like this. We go, a little distorted sound. Is it sounding more like Angus? A bit. Not 100%, but I'm not Angus, right? Somebody famously said, it was, I can't remember who was recording Angus Young, but they were asked, how do you get Angus Young's guitar tone? And the guy went, well, here's what you need. You need a Gibson SG, preferably 60s. You need a 60s Marshall 50-watt head. You need a Marshall 60s Marshall 4x12 with a specific kind of greenback. You need an SM57. You need this Nady wireless system that we use to boost the signal. And you need an Angus. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Fair play. So that's kind of a big deal, right? That is a big deal. Response Audio saying the conviction that AC/DC play with is unreal. They mean it 100%, right? For sure. So how do we make it sound more like AC/DC? Well, we probably need to play a little more aggressively, right? We can't play like this and expect it to come out right. We can't go... That's not going to happen. That's too much. Now it's out of tune. That's better. Much better. We found just the right level of touch to make that happen. Now, what about other aspects? We're going to go back to Cliffs, right? Cliffs over here. Whoa, hello. Cliffs over... Let's stop that. The amp is screaming at me, making funny noises, saying, stop playing AC/DC. So we take Cliffs of Dover as the example, right? I'm going to play this line. It sounds wrong. Doesn't sound like Eric, right? We'll get into why. Is it the tone? Maybe. Bridge pickup. Volume, tone down. We're closer, right? But watch this. Oh, behave. That doesn't sound like Eric. Why doesn't it sound like Eric? Well, it's the Zakk Wylde vibrato. It's not right. Ah. That's kind of the Peter Green thing, I guess. That's closer. There we go. There's more to it. There's the touch. There's all this sort of stuff that cannot be communicated properly that run through the theme of the song. They run through the whole thing. And this is something that can only really be communicated, again, face to face. But this is not why you can't get through songs. This is why you don't sound like the player. The real reason you can't get through songs, I don't think, is because I think you have a certain amount of attention that you have that you can commit to learning a song, a certain amount of attention that you can put into a single, let's call it practice session, or a single learning commitment to learning a piece of music. And if you feel like there is a huge amount of song ahead of you, it can be daunting. It can be absolutely daunting. So this is why I espouse this big picture approach, going through the whole thing and getting as much of the song in a single pass as you can, because then what you don't get is you don't get this this horrible sense of, oh God, I've got so far to go. It's ridiculous. If you were learning Cliffs of Dover and you learned those 2 big phrases, you've realistically learned about 40% of the song. And you go, well, that was easy. I've just got to colour in the details now. And I think this is what puts people off. Another thing, though, is, as some people have rightly pointed out, the hard bits. What do we do about the hard bits? Well, what do we do about the hard bits? The first thing we do about the hard bits is when we're in the process of learning the song, we ignore them. We don't do the hard bits just yet. You must do them to finish the song, but we don't do them right away, right? It does not behoove us to fixate on the difficult bits, right? Mal Riley says I can get stuck on the same part that keeps me from progressing. For sure, we all do this. The thing to do in these circumstances is move on. See how much of the rest of the song you can get and come back to that bit. You may pick up something over the rest of the song that might help you with the difficult bit. There might be something where you go, oh no, wait a minute for a second. There's something going on here where I go, right, that thing he's playing here, it's actually just this. It's this little part that comes later in the song. Right, I've got it. And while we're getting through stuff, we just bluster it. So, you know, if you're playing Cliffs of Dover again and you get to the solo, you go, oh, great, I haven't learned the solo yet. You go, well, I can improvise in G. How hard can it be? Right? You play some stuff in G. Does it sound like Eric Johnson? No, because you're not Eric Johnson. I'm not Eric Johnson. We have an Eric Johnson. There will only be one Eric Johnson. Maybe Joe Bonamassa. But you get the idea, right? So we just play some stuff. You get a sense for how long the solo is, what happens after the solo, all that sort of thing. And then you start to colour in the details one at a time. You take it slowly. You use all of the tactics you know how to use when it comes to practicing stuff. You slow it down, you practice to a metronome, you consult the notation, you make sure that your fingering is correct, your picking is correct, all that stuff. But that comes later, like filling in these hard bits, these challenging bits, that comes later on. Start with the big picture, we move out from there. Folks, that is why I think you may have difficulty getting through songs. But we are not done. We've got a Q&A. Hooray! If you've got questions, we got answers, and we're going to address as many of them as we possibly can. So drop them down below. We'd love to hear from you, right? Here is one from our friend Chris saying, here's another question, Nick. At your level, well, that's very kind of you, although that could mean anything. Is there anything that you hear that you try and find you can't actually play it? Yes. Absolutely, for sure. It'll be fascinating given you and the Lick Library crew do it all. Well, you know, maybe I'm glad we give that impression, but there is definitely lots of things that I'll sit down and I'll go, wait a minute, I can't play that. That's ridiculous. And it can be for a variety of reasons, right? There may be something where I just don't have my ear around it yet. Maybe I'm like, oh, I can't hear that. I can't make sense of it. I had this. Our friend Ben is in the comments, by the way. Ben, we haven't made the announcement yet, but we'll talk about that later. Ben is, let's say, closely associated with the Blitzkrieg family. Anyway, another story for another day. So when I was learning the Blitzkrieg set, a lot of the recordings were really bad. No offense to the lads, but there are some terrible recordings of that band kicking around, let me tell you. And songs that I was learning, I'm digging through it and going, I can't play this because I can't friggin' hear it. And if I can't hear it, then no chance. I don't know what I'm playing. I can bluster something, but like, I really need to be able to actually listen to this in detail to hear what's going on. Other things, there are lots of things that are technically beyond my capability. So recently I sat down and started learning Paganini's which one was it? Paganini's Fifth Caprice, the one that inspired Eugene's Trick Bag, which I'll make an absolute pig's ear of in front of you guys, but I'll have a go, because why not, right? And it's the one that goes like this. Get the tone control up. Yeah. And on it goes. I wanted to learn that, but I decided, ironically, that I wanted to learn just a small portion of it, just to make it a little etude, because I like this. Yeah. I like that a lot, right? It's the Jason Becker version, and I thought it was very cool. And this little cross-picking thing I found very challenging. So there's lots of things that are way beyond my capability, but what I did do is I sat and I tried to look for any little logical parts of it that would repeat. So for example, this. I could play that. It's that octave figure up there, I can play that. I realised that this was a little thing that would come back and haunt me later on. Now, this is an example of a piece that doesn't have a great deal of repetition in it, but if it had lots of repetition, much easier for me to sit and figure that out. So, but yeah, there's loads of things that are beyond my purview, let me tell you, right? It's very kind of you, though. I appreciate that. Here's a great observation from Marcin on the why we learn songs. Playing songs all the way through makes us combine a lot of techniques in short periods of time. Absolutely, right? But what it also does is it is the actual act of playing music. The thing that we do when we play the guitar. We can forget. We can get caught up in all the trappings of the guitar and become lifestyle guitarists where I don't really enjoy playing the guitar, I just like the lifestyle. I like to have a guitar. I like to play the minor pentatonic really fast. That's cool, right? But playing music is what we actually do. And the beautiful thing about songs versus improvising or composing is that you have to play the music the way someone else intended for it to be, not the way you intend for it to be. And this presents a unique challenge, both to your ear and to your skills as a player. So very, very valuable stuff, let me tell you, right? I think so. I think it's a very valuable thing. Here is a great one from Cranker Tom saying, how do I get a one-on-one lesson as a Lick Library member? Best thing to do is to contact Stuart Shields, right? And you can get hold of him at the support page on licklibrary.com, if I'm not mistaken. Let me quickly find this for you. If you get in touch with Stu, anyway, Stuart Shields, let's go to licklibrary.com. In case anybody's wondering, Lick Library members get one-to-one lessons. Right? You don't get them like every day, but you have access to one-to-one lessons. You can have those. I'm going to quickly, let's just stop sharing that screen and let's share another screen very quickly. I'll see if I can find this for you because, surprise, surprise, I have never booked a Lick Library one-to-one lesson because Stu lives around the corner from me as my mate. But yes, if you go to customer care, under there you'll find help. Yes, right, let's find this now. So we go to Chrome tab, share that very quickly. You go to customer care down here. You can contact us on there. How do I get in touch? If you do that, or you can go in the live chat. Stu's often on the live chat. Go to the inquiry form. Player support is a good place to be. Pop your name, email. You don't have to put your telephone number in and your inquiry, and Stu will get back in touch with you and book a thing. So yes, Lick Library members, you get those, and Stu will sort you out with that. It's really good. I think we're the only people that do that too. Here is a great one from Justin Ray that we haven't talked about yet, which is, I heard a saying the other day, if you can't play it to a click track, then you can't actually play it. You are correct. You are on the money. Now, what I would suggest with this is there are some things, obviously, that aren't played to a click track. But if you can't play something in time, I don't think you can really play it. And I struggle with this myself because sometimes I'll just hit the gas pedal when I'm playing and I'll go, and that can be fun. But sometimes things that are just a little bit sub-max in terms of speed can be an issue. And songs are a really great way of reinforcing this because you gotta play it as it is. But also, to really play a song, you have to play it in context, right? It's no good you playing... I saw a really funny clip a little while ago that tickled me, which was the Adam Clayton from U2 solo tour. Now, Adam Clayton's got some really interesting bass lines, right? But it's quite funny. And it was like, U2 have broken up, but don't worry, one man is still going on tour. Yes, that's right, folks. The bass lines to all of your favorite U2 songs, like With or Without You. Where the streets have no name. Beautiful day. And it was just, I guess, just to highlight how, like, one person's part, like, doesn't make the whole song any more than a single ingredient makes the cake. So grabbing a backing track and putting this to the test, or even better, getting out and playing with a band, it's a real test of a musician, is that. So you're absolutely right. You are absolutely correct. Here's another question from our friend Mal Riley, or a comment saying, there are 3 scales from the Cage system: diatonic, pentatonic, and blues. It helps to know where those 3 and 2 fret spaces are. Ah, right. Here's a good one. This is a thread that I've entirely missed. I've gone all the way back up here. Right, so that's advice. We love that. I'm going to get right on this. Here we go. Sacred Godslayer says, I find it very hard to learn heart stuff that is simple stuff in your box pentatonic, and better remember scale phrases. I think I know what you mean by heart stuff. I think you mean like kind of maybe the bluesy stuff where it's like, you know, maybe you get some of this. That sort of thing. The thing with that is much harder to actually learn from tab, because how do you articulate what that is in tab? You go, well, you sort of half bend it and then we squeak it a little bit. That's something that's probably best learned. How do you articulate how muted this has to be? It's very difficult to bust that down for someone and go, oh, that's what that is. So I'm totally with you, right? I'm totally with you. So we've got a whole thread of advice going on here. It says stuff that goes 12, 14 on various strings, and seldom, with the seldom 12, 15 string is very hard for me to remember. It's rarely logical. It's rarely logical in terms of being written down, but there's often a logical flow to it. So if we take, for example, the Eddie Van Halen iteration of the blues lick, the lick that everybody plays, the one that goes... Eddie's got a really interesting one that goes like this. Which I'll bust out anytime it's time to do an Eddie impression. And you go, oh, it's like Eddie. Okay, well, that one in particular has this lovely little flow. Now, the way I think about this, in particular, I'll show it to you very slowly, is we're playing A minor pentatonic. We bend the 4th to the 5th, and then it's hammer on from 5 to 8 to 5, and then it's this with the camera focusing and unfocusing, 5, 8, 5. But the way I think about it is, I think about it as these little units. This, that's one, that's another one, and this one from above is another one. And rather than thinking about them as individual notes or having this kind of pattern, I think about it as the bend up and that, pull off and that, from above. And I go, okay, bend up, pull off, above. And so on and so forth. Now, this tickles me as well, because this is something that you'll see quite a lot in the comment sections on videos of people playing like this. People go, oh, it's the pentatonic scale. Oh, it's just the pentatonic scale. I'm like, man, pentatonic stuff is hard. Like, people don't realize how technically and hourly demanding it is to learn these pentatonic licks. They're tough. Pentatonic stuff is really difficult. You got to jump strings like nobody's business. You got to have athleticism between these 2 fingers and these 2 fingers. You don't have lots of fingers to make up the difference on 3-note string stuff. For example, like, you know, us legato players out there who can just bluster on 3-note strings all day. Pentatonic's difficult. But yes, so hopefully that kind of makes a little more sense of that. A little more sense. We got a lot of great comments coming in. Folks, I'm going to have to dash because we've run out of time once again, but this has been a really fun session. I've really enjoyed it, and it's also been a really fun way to conclude a very fun run of streams. But we are back next month, right? Next month, which is a week away. We do this every Monday with a whole new theme for the streams. I won't be revealing what that is just yet, but suffice to say, you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to play out a little bit on some bluesy rock stuff, because why not? But for the time being, folks, my name's Nick Jennison. If you are not already, whatever YouTube channel you happen to be on, consider subscribing. It really helps us, man. It helps us reach as many guitar players as we possibly can. If you're not already subscribed on the other YouTube channel, go do that too. We're live on licklibrary.com YouTube channel and Guitar Interactive Magazine YouTube channel. While you're there, consider going to licklibrary.com for lessons, including one-to-one lessons if you remember, and guitarinteractivemagazine.com for news, reviews, interviews, all that good guitar playing lifestyle stuff. I'm going to play out on this blues rock track because it sounds fun. My name's Nick Jennison. See you next week.